Welcome in. It's the TeamMates Mentoring Hour on 93.7 The Ticket, theticketfm.com. Nick Sainert hanging out with you guys tonight while everybody else is at Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul. So make sure you guys head over there, enjoy some good old Southern barbecue. I'm going to make my way over there after the show today, but definitely am looking forward to talking to three members of TeamMates. And as always, you guys know the drill. 402-464-5685, the Honda Lincoln hotline, the Starter Heyman text line. Both those open for you guys the entire show today, as well as the Starter Heyman Jewelers video stream. So Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Twitter. Now, if you have any questions, any comments, any concerns, any thoughts about possibly becoming a mentor yourself, any questions about TeamMates, what they're about, that's what the text line, that's what the Honda of Lincoln hotline is for. Once again, that phone number, 402-464-5685. Now, we have three guests with us in the studio with me today. We have Emily, Ron, and Tanner. Hello, guys. How's it going?
Great.
All right, cool. Awesome. We're all talking loud. This is awesome. We're into the microphone. This is perfect. All right, so first off, I guess I want to get into what you guys do at TeamMates. So meet you guys, okay? So Emily, we'll first start with you. I know you're pretty involved. You have been since I think 2015 is what I read. So tell the listeners kind of about yourself and what you do for TeamMates.
Yeah, I am a community outreach specialist for TeamMates. I work in the office for the Lincoln chapter of TeamMates. And I do a lot of marketing and recruiting and just trying to get the word out about this awesome program.
I guess why TeamMates? Why did you get involved?
I have a heart for kids. My career has been super varied. I started in the entertainment industry, but the thing that I see as the through line is that I consider myself a storyteller.
Yeah.
And I love telling the stories of our matches and the stories of the growth that we see both among our mentors and our mentees because of the relationships that they form. And so I love working for some place that is really mission driven and has really strong roots in this community.
I guess talk about, I mean, when you talk to somebody, whether it's the other two guests, Tanner and Ron, that we have in the studio, or anybody, whether you're telling somebody about TeamMates for the first time, what kind of reception is there from the community when you kind of explain TeamMates? How is it perceived in the community?
Really, really warmly. Most people who live in Lincoln sort of have an awareness of TeamMates. We have been around for over 30 years. And so I often get, isn't that the program that the Osborne started?
Exactly.
Yeah, it is. And then I explain a little bit about what we do, that we're having volunteer mentors meet at school with young people once a week for about one class period and just growing a relationship. There's not a curriculum. There's not expectations around that meeting. The mentor is just there to be a non-judgmental adult friend to support a young person. And I have never had anybody find any fault with that. You know, every young person deserves a mentor. There's not a young person out there who couldn't benefit from the friendship of an additional caring adult. Heck, I could benefit from the friendship of an additional caring adult.
I was sitting here listening to you. I'm like, I could use that. Yeah, you know, I'm in college right now. I'm 21 years old. I could probably use some good advice in my own life. All right, so Tanner, we'll go to you next. SCO Middle School, right? And so tell us about yourself, what you do there, and then why you got involved at TeamMates.
Of course. So at SCO Middle School, I'm a part of the administration team, and a part of that, my main title is instructional coordinator. And What I do for TeamMates is throughout my day, I get the pleasure of meeting with mentees and mentors and building those relationships at the beginning, middle, and sometimes the end. And so my opportunity is to listen to mentees and kind of receive from teachers what they're looking for students and mentees to make sure that they can be successful in the future, or look for ways that they can get a connection to school. And so my opportunity is that I get recommendations from teachers and staff that share some great information about students and mentees. And with that information, I'm able to reach out to our match specialists, and they're able to send some mentors my way, where then I reach out to the mentors and keep them connected to SCO. And when we make those connections, we bring a mentee and a mentor together and start to build that teammate connection and that relationship that we were talking about.
So you work, I mean, obviously, like you said, right, close to the children that are involved, right? The mentee side of things. How do they respond to this whole at first I'm gonna have a random person come and we're gonna try to have a conversation and we'll see how it goes. But that's going to be difficult for young children sometimes.
It can be, but living in middle school world, you can talk to anybody or reflect back to your own middle school days. There's not a time that isn't awkward.
Yeah.
And so when they get that chance, they're like,
true.
They come to my office and they're, oh my gosh, I might be in trouble. And I'm actually more overjoyed to be like, hey, we have a great opportunity. Let me share some information about it. And then really get a chance for them to connect, because sometimes they've been waiting a couple months for that mentor to come along. And when it happens, the joy that you see in their face or the excitement, they're like, hey, somebody really wants to meet me. And that awkwardness slips away really quickly.
That's really cool.
And they're really excited to meet that mentor.
Once again, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, the Starter Heyman text line. If you have any questions, we already have one question on there, but I want to sit tight with it. So give me a moment while we introduce and get to know our third, last but not least, guest here in the studio with me today, Ron Cunningham. Ron, now we have to shout out Ron because he's a season ticket holder for Nebraska volleyball. And if you know, which I'm guessing you do, the folks that are listening, Nebraska's playing a pretty important volleyball match right now as we speak. They are, just to give you guys an update, they're up almost 2-0. They have set point right now. They're up 1-0. And there it is. So now Nebraska's up 2-0, so we can breathe a little bit, Ron, while Nebraska's on the road at Creighton. But tell us, kind of, you're a mentor. You've been a mentor for a very long time. What got you into the idea of mentoring?
Well, I retired. I was retired, and my wife knows that I love being around young people. Mm-hmm. And she said, you're always talking about being a mentor, and you're always going to do it tomorrow. And she said, we signed up through our church when we were at church, and she said, go over there today. And so I signed up and got started, and here I am.
You are. Okay, so question we have on a text line, are there any type of TeamMates programs for homeschool children?
So one of the miraculous things that came out of COVID, previously we were all in person. And when COVID hit, we had to make some modifications. Yeah. And we did start doing some Zoom mentoring over that time. There was a learning curve for everybody, but we made it work. And the vast majority of our matches are now back to meeting in person. But we've found that there are some opportunities that we're able to take advantage of that we weren't before. For example, we have some mentors who are snowbirds. And sometimes if we knew they were going to be gone for long periods of time, we would have to close that match. Well, now we don't. And they meet over Zoom for a couple of months, or we have a couple of mentors who started here in town and were going to UNL and now are at the Med Center studying to be doctors. And sometimes they're able to make it back, but sometimes they're not, and we can do that through Zoom. We would prefer to have all of our matches meet in person, just because relationships form so much better when you can be face to face. But a lot of homeschoolers do have one class period or another that's at school. So if we can work it out that way, that's what we'll aim to do.
Ron, I want to ask you this. How important is commitment from both sides of the relationship, from the mentee and the mentor, to be committed and want to do this thing and want to have a conversation and build a relationship? How important is the commitment from both sides in this?
I think it's extremely important, and I can tell it in the relationship I have with my mentee. He's at the point now where, see you next week. And I can guarantee you that he's counting on me being there. And that's the reason I do everything I can to make sure that I don't miss. And if I have a conflict, the school's easy to work with. I choose another day because I know it's important to him that we get together, because I know he likes it. And he's just as committed to me as well, I think.
We talk about this the social media day right now, the age that we are in right now, and how it was easier, or not easier necessarily, but we were able to meet over Zoom and things like that in the video chat. And I guess maybe Tanner, this is one for you. Now that we're so centric on social media, and everything revolves on our phones, on our tablets. I have a laptop in front of me right now. It's like, does it make it the conversations maybe more difficult, or to have that, that one-on-one conversation? Have you seen, any of you guys, I guess, can answer this one, now that we live in this day where it's texting, calling, Snapchat, Twitter, all that?
Social media always has a part in, I would say, middle schoolers' lives. And for mentees and mentors, though, that communication is kind of separated, where I get to be the median between that. And so that way, when mentees and mentors are trying to communicate between each other, I serve as that connection piece. So that way we kind of drown out the outside noise, and we can just really connect between. And so I kind of like to step back between those times and, connect that mentee and mentor so that they can build that relationship in a powerful passion that, means something to each other.
Expand on that. I mean, how rewarding do you go home at night and be like, all right, yeah, this is what I did today, and there was a serious change that happened because of a role I played?
With middle school, sometimes we get to see that as a part of the process. We never get to maybe see that finish. But one of the things that always comes to mind is a mentee and a mentor that I've had experience with before I was even in this position. And what had happened is they had built a relationship through elementary to middle school. And I had the pleasure of being a part of that, and then went into high school. And one of the cool parts about that is that student had ended up getting to that graduation point, the hype and the excitement that they were in. And one of the cool things is that that mentee reached out to that mentor, and I was still, kind of a part of that conversation, and had reached out. And, there are so many things that happen in a mentee's life in school, but this mentee had reached out and stated, hey, the most important part of my experience at school was connecting with you, and it means something. And how you made me feel was more important. And when that mentee had reached out, that mentor, even I get a little bit choked up about it. It's really powerful. And, to me, even though I wasn't the main concept of that part of that relationship, it was so proud. And to take something like that home and know that not only did you see that happen, but you were kind of a part of that, makes an impact on yourself. And that's why I think not only, teammates, but also teachers and staff, that's why we do it every day, is to make an impact on students' lives.
That's all right. That's awesome. Once again, you guys can chime into the show, 402-464-5685. This is kind of an hour that we want you guys to ask questions. So if you are interested in becoming a mentor, have questions about the process, how do you get involved, please send us a text, 464-5685. You can also comment on our video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, or Twitter as well. Going back to some of those cool and rewarding stories, how often do we hear those? Because obviously there can be bad with good, and we'll get to that in due time. But how often do we get to hear those rewarding stories?
I have a whole bank of those stories.
Well, okay, give us a couple. What are a couple favorites if you can think of?
We have a mentee. So one of the things we like to talk about in TeamMates is the ripple effect of mentoring. That it's important and it's wonderful that it's a one-on-one relationship, but you do affect the people around the other person in the relationship. So we had a mentee who wasn't very engaged at school, didn't have great attendance. School just wasn't really his thing.
Yeah.
And the mentor was able to show him how important it was and encourage him to come to school for those meetings. And over time really showed him how important school was. Well, because that mentee's life improved, because he started enjoying school, the mentee's younger brother started enjoying school and becoming more engaged. Well, fast forward a few years, the mentee went on to post-secondary, went to college, and the mentee's mom, who had a high school diploma, but that was as far as her education had gone, decided that, hey, yeah, school is important. And she went back to college. And so that ripple effect, it can go so many directions.
That's awesome. All right, Ron. I'm curious because as somebody that's been in this for quite a while and lived an exciting life. You were telling me you've been on the radio, you've been a coach before and things like that. You've lived an exciting life, Ron. I don't want to hear anything different. I mean, looking back and now being able to use your wisdom onto mentees. Number one, how valuable is that? But then number two, that how much do you preach of, listen, we look at, things that happen in your life as lessons rather than mistakes, and trying to put a positive spin on it?
Well, I try and keep that mind. When I taught high school for 5 years, and I was studying to be a counselor, and I didn't like it because at that point in my life, if you told me you had a problem, I wanted to tell you what to do about it.
Yeah.
And so that really helped me, though, in being a mentor, because now I try and concentrate on listening. I never try and pass judgment. I don't set conditions. And the school that my current mentee and I started at, I'd hear the teachers say one thing that always impressed me is that I'd hear them talking to different students, not necessarily my mentee, but they would always say, could you have made a better choice? And that really impressed me, and I use that on my grandsons to this day. When maybe they don't make the choice that I like, rather than coming across telling them how to do it, I say, do you think you might have made a better choice? And so, yeah, I mainly try and be a good listener and be non-judgmental. I don't try and I don't try and let my eyeballs roll back when I hear something that maybe I shouldn't.
Is that difficult? Is it?
Well, it's probably more difficult as a parent thinking back than it is as a mentor.
That's all. So, okay, Tanner, out of the corner of my eye, I saw you kind of start to shake your head when you said the word listening. I mean, and Emily, I want you to speak on this a little bit as well, but I guess, how hard is that as not only a teacher, but when you are a mentor, that you have to remind yourself, all right, listen first and kind of approach it more cautiously, maybe than your initial act would want to be?
Yeah, I'd be lying if I said it wasn't hard. It's a challenge, but I think through the practice of listening, it happens at school, it happens outside of your life. You want to practice listening. And when you practice to listen to others and really build a connection, you build empathy. And when you build empathy, you make true connections. Empathy is showing that mentee that you're there for them, and that no matter what it may look like outside of that day or outside of that school, showing them that structure of that empathy and listening and really connecting with them really builds a relationship that's worth having.
I guess a question then is like, what's the easiest way if somebody that's listening just became a mentor, or they want to, like I said, they're on the fence? What is the easiest and quickest way to build a relationship with a mentee?
I always start my meetings by asking my mentee what she's looking forward to between now and when we're going to meet the next time. Like, what's coming up in your life? What are exciting things that are going to happen? And what are some good things that happened last week? Gotcha. And, we don't always talk about good things. Yeah. I want her to feel open to talking about whatever she needs to talk about at that time. But try to focus on, what are you looking forward to?
Mm-hmm. That feels like a good place to possibly take a time out. When we come back, we will continue this conversation, maybe get into some of the brutal truths, the brutal realities of working with mentees at times. I know Ron has a story he wants to share, and we'll get some other thoughts. And then I also want to talk to these three about who's inspired them and why they initially go a little bit deeper into why they decided to join TeamMates, which is such an awesome organization. So when we come back, we'll talk to these three guests, Emily, Tanner, and Ron, a little bit more in depth. Nick Sander with you guys as well. Want to hear your thoughts, want to hear your questions. 402-464-5685. No better people to ask than the folks that are in the studio right now. We'll be right back. You're listening to 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Don't go anywhere. More of the TeamMates Mentoring Hour is minutes away on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. This is your High School Minute.
With your Southeast Community College High School Minute, I'm Gus Cottle. This week in high school football, the Lincoln Southeast Knights played the Lincoln East Spartans Friday night at Seacrest Field. After Southeast opened up the game with a 14-0 lead, East was able to battle back and defeat the Knights in an upset victory. Lincoln East plays Lincoln Southwest next week in a battle for Lincoln. Lincoln High ran away with a 62-12 win over Omaha Northwest, led by running back turned quarterback Julian Babahavanov. Their starting quarterback Adonis Hutchinson was on the bench after getting hurt in the second half against Lincoln Southwest last week. Cole Ballard led Elkhorn South to a 31-28 victory over Millard South behind 3 rushing touchdowns and 121 yards on the ground. The Storm's quarterback Carson Rayner also threw for 242 yards, completing 10 of 18 passes. This has been your Southeast Community College High School Minute. Learn more today at southeast.edu with locations in Lincoln, Beatrice, and Milford.
Trendy or traditional, Gary Michaels Clothiers specializes in men's tailored clothing. Off the rack or custom made to measure, there is simply no better shopping experience. Offering designer furnishings, sportswear, shoes, outerwear, and accessories for a man always concerned at looking his best. With world-class tailoring and personal service, all makes Gary Michaels Clothiers Nebraska's premier store for men. Come visit us now at Village Gardens, south of 56th and Pine Lake Road in Lincoln.
If you came across someone struggling with hunger, how would you recognize them? By their clothes, their age, the way they speak? Would you notice a 16-year-old boy who got his first job,
not for extra spending money, but to help feed his little sisters?
or a mother who's in between jobs and sometimes goes to bed hungry so her kids can have dinner? Or a 14-year-old girl who signs up to every after-school activity, not to make friends, but just to get something to eat? Or a retiree who fell ill and had to choose
between getting medicine or groceries.
I am the 1 in 8 Americans who struggle with hunger. People you pass by every day but never knew were hungry. I am hunger in America.
Hunger can be hard to recognize. Learn why at IamHungerInAmerica.org. Brought to you by Feeding America, 200 Food Bank Strong, and the Ad Council.
Your home should not be a zoo to unwelcomed animals. Let the experts at Bats to Rats take care of those problems. Dayton has been a leader in wildlife and pest management and prevention in Lincoln and the surrounding area for 15 years. It can help you get rid of bats, rodents, and anything else. Whether it's residential or commercial buildings, schools, apartments, or churches, they're always a phone call away. Call today at 402-310-0904 or visit batsterats.com. Bats to Rats Wildlife Control and Prevention.
Get an immediate look back at the game from the people who know it best. It's the Tanner's Post-Game Show and the Final Word live from Tanner's Bar and Grill at 30th and Yankee Hill. Hear from former players and national champions like Jay Foreman, Rashawn Jackson, and Aaron Davis and see what they saw in that day's game. It's the Tanner's Post-Game Show and the Final Word, live and in person, home or away at Tanner's Bar and Grill, brought to you by Bauer Infrastructure. Only here on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Adoption of teens from foster care is a topic not enough people know about, and we're here to change that. I'm April Dinwiddie, host of the new podcast, Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Each episode brings you compelling real-life adoption stories told by the families that live them with commentary from experts. Visit adoptuskids.org/podcast or subscribe to Navigating Adoption, presented by Adopt US Kids. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services Administration for Children and Families and the Ad Council.
At Venue Catering and Events, we offer 2 of the most historic ballrooms in Lincoln. The Jasmine Room, located in the historic Grand Manse in the heart of downtown, featuring a beautiful built-in antique bar, spacious patio, and soaring skylit ceilings. The Scottish Rite Ballroom, located just 2 blocks from the state's capital, boasts intricate hand-carved columns, rich dark wood floors, and lavish chandeliers. The perfect venues to host your wedding, corporate event, or much more. For availability and more information, call us at 402-603-6483.
Seasons change, but your land stays the same. You need the right solutions to keep you moving. That's why you rely on Acres Equipment, your Nebraska-owned premier John Deere dealership. Whether you're harvesting, protecting your crops, feeding the herd, maintaining your lawn, improving your business, or letting off some steam, Acres has what you need to get the job done. Acres Equipment, solutions for every field.
There's not many things worse than having plumbing issues at your home or business, but it's even worse if the problem isn't fixed correctly. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time, and they specialize in several things: general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Sunny skies and just slightly cooler when compared to yesterday. We'll still top out near 90. Southeast winds at around 10 to 15. Overnight mainly clear with a low down to around 64. The heat will peak tomorrow. We'll see sunny skies, south winds gusting over 25 and a high near 95. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
People first is more than a nice sentiment. At American Senior Benefits, it's the mission. If you're ready for a career where you can truly put your customers' needs ahead of everything else, this is for you. American Senior Benefits is one of the leading senior market insurance product distributors in the country, and they're looking for high-energy applicants with strong communication skills. Enjoy on-the-job training, a fun work environment, and unlimited income potential. Visit asbmidwest.com to learn more. American Senior Benefits.
College football in Lincoln, America. The time has come. Start your game day off right with the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show. Join the Ticket crew live from Tipsy Tina's in the Haymarket as they bring you all the coverage you need to get you ready for the action. It's the A1 Automotive Ticket Tailgate pregame show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Brought to you by A1 Automotive, Mullen Motors, Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits, Bauer Underground, Ben Bleicher with Professional Realty Group, and Ritchie Brothers.
Mama, what does the chicken say? Dog. Cat. Giraffe.
Giraffe, really? Giraffe.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right.
Visit NHTSA.gov/the right seat.
Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
I grew up hearing that women are bad with money, but like many of you, I spent years paying bills, managing checking accounts, and taking care of my family. So turns out women are pretty good with money after all. And now I'm taking control of my financial future by saving for retirement. It's never too late to start, and there's a great website to help you. Check out WeSaySaveIt.org and jumpstart your retirement savings on your budget and your timeline. That's WeSaySaveIt.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
They might win, they might lose, but either way, you have something to say about it. Don't miss the Husker After Party postgame show immediately following every Nebraska football game. Nick Sainert and Jake Bachhoven give instant reaction, quotes from the players and coaches, and take all your phone calls with thoughts on the game. It's the Husker After Party postgame show, only on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Sponsored by Action Plumbing and Heating, Gary Michaels Clothiers, and Brent Excavating.
This is the TeamMates Mentoring Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, we're back here. Teammates Mentoring Hour. Nick Sainert hanging out with you guys on a Wednesday night. If you're looking for something to eat, head over to Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul, 27th and Pine Lake. The folks are out there a little bit right now, having a little party that they neglected to invite me to. No, I'm kidding. So I'll be out there here in the meantime, or in a little bit. But we're having a really awesome conversation with a couple folks from Teammates. It is the Teammates Mentoring Hour. If you guys have any questions, any thoughts, if you're just now joining us, 402-464-5685, the Honda of Lincoln hotline, the Starter Heyman text line, or on the Starter Heyman Jewelers video stream, Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter. You can comment there, share your thoughts. What are you thinking? If you have questions on how to become a mentor, this is the place to send in those questions. We have Emily Hack, Tanner White, and Ron Cunningham with us this evening. Okay, Ron, before we dive too far into a conversation, you told us a story off air, and I need the listeners to hear this story because it's exceptional. Because I asked you in the first segment you've said you were a coach and things like that. How did you translate that into being a mentor? You told us a story of your time in Mullen, Nebraska. Is that right?
Mullen,
Nebraska.
Okay,
so let the listeners know about what just happened.
Okay. Well, I was a basketball coach, and the volleyball coach quit just before the season. So the superintendent said, "If you played volleyball, well, yeah, intramural," and he said, "Well, now you're the volleyball coach." And this is before the NSAA had organized volleyball, and we practiced, and I thought everything was going just great. And just before the first game, really one of my better players came to me and said, "Coach, I'd like to talk to you." And trying to be a good listener, I said, "Okay, and tell me what's on your mind." And I thought, boy, I'm in trouble on something. And she said, I'm so embarrassed. I don't want my height listed in the program. And this girl, this is 1966, and this girl was 6 feet tall. And she said, I don't want that people to know that I'm 6 feet tall. And so we came to the agreement. We listed her at 5'12".
Didn't lie. You made that very clear. Like, we did not lie.
We did not lie. We didn't mislead any of the opponents or anything like that. And she was happy because, as far as she was concerned, when you said her first height, it was 5 feet something. And it's kind of a funny story, but that's a true story. Yeah.
That's awesome. Okay, so I want to, as we get to know you guys also as mentors, I want to know who's inspired you and why. Once just a little more in depth of why you got into Teammates, but definitely like who's inspired you to not only stay or get into Teammates, but also stay in Teammates and involved in the program. Whoever wants to go first. Emily, we'll go with you first.
So my first experience as a mentor was while I was doing my undergrad at Northwestern University.
Okay.
The financial aid program there had some really fantastic options for a work study. And so my work study program was that I mentored a little girl through the Y there in Evanston. So anybody from UNL Financial Aid that's listening, you should start this program up at UNL. But I mentored for my work study, and I stayed with that girl during the whole time that I was there, and I learned to love mentoring. And so when I came back to Nebraska and was looking for a new career path, Teammates seemed like a great fit. I wanted something that had roots, and what better than working for LPS and Tom Osborne, and something that I had learned to love.
Taryn, I'll let you go. Who's inspired you, man?
For Teammates wise, looking into what mentoring is, and that's embedded in teaching in general. I've had some great mentors in my life, not only through education, but in Teammates. And so for Teammates specifically, I would say I worked with Alyssa Deal over at SCO, who's now the associate principal, and had inspired so many at our staff and had done a great job, even winning awards and showing how passionate she was about students and making mentors and mentees connections and building relationships. And she did an excellent job at that. And so I was really inspired by her into Teammates, alongside with, looking at how I can be inspired in a way through, let's say, teaching as well. And so, the person that really inspired me with teaching and looking at those things would not only be, several people such as my wife, who's also a teacher and does the exact same thing with students and having younger children that are going to be a part of this educational system. It inspires us as parents to know that we have some ownership, and knowing that Teammates is around makes it really special.
That's cool. How long have you been matching mentor and mentees?
This would be my second year for matching.
Okay.
And so the really cool part that I always love doing is that actually this week on Tuesday over at SCO, we had a kickoff. And what we did there is I invent the mentors and the mentees. We meet down in the NPR. I brought a little bit of a continental breakfast per se. And we had the chance to have them connect, because, that summer break can be so different for mentees and mentors. And when they reconnect, they rekindle that relationship. And it was really cool to see them have breakfast, eat, and share experiences. And some of them who are newer to middle school were walking around and showing them the school, and others were just like, hey, it's great to see you again. How was your summer? And practicing that listening.
That's cool. Okay, so I know we kind of touched on it a little bit in the first segment, but what's your go-to trying to get the relationship to be comfortable? What's your go-to? What have you found that's more? I know you're fresh into it, right?
Yeah.
So you're obviously still learning, I'm sure, but like, what works out the best when trying to develop a relationship or help match, mentor and mentee?
It starts with that listening piece. And my first question is asking great questions, is really knowing what exactly. And so, middle school, that awkwardness, hey, what are you doing this weekend? And if they bring up what they like, and sometimes it's like, hey, I'm going to go play cards. And it's like, oh, that's cool. I love cards. Like, let's talk about that. Or, sometimes it's mentors come in and it's like, I really love baseball. I hope my mentee loves baseball. And it's like, fun fact, I actually looked at both of your profiles. You both love baseball. I can't wait for it to get a glove in both of your hands and head outside and not only listen, but also do something that you love and that you're passionate about.
That's awesome. All right, Ron, who inspires you?
Well, I'll go back to I was a student at Chadron State College, and the basketball coach there, I was a student manager.
Okay.
On the basketball team, and the coach, probably without me knowing, really was a mentor. I look back on that, and I should have called him. He's now deceased, of course, and should have told him how much, because he did that so indirectly for me. I graduated from high school, very tiny school in Nebraska, really kind of naive to the world. And I think this guy was indirectly probably believed that I could do better things than I thought I could do. But he never told me that. But the way he kind of guided me or directed me or worked with me, always willing to listen, I look back, there's no doubt about he was a mentor to me. But there's been other people in the community. I look back, those people weren't asking for money. They weren't asking for anything. They were just wanting to help this kid probably be a better kid in me. And so that's what it's all about.
I was told, now correct me if I'm wrong, you've had the same mentee since third grade, and they're a freshman now. Is that right?
That's correct.
So number one, I guess, how have you seen the development in not only your guys' relationship, but also in the mentee?
He's changed dramatically, I think. When we first started, like a lot of young people, probably impatient. We dealt with that. Again, going back to better choices, and now I think he thinks really very maturely for his age, and really gives a pretty good thinking process to decisions that he's making. But there's night and day difference on how he responds and reacts to different situations.
Now, I know. So, sometimes when I've been on this show previously, and I know maybe you guys get this question as well. What if it doesn't go well? What if I just don't get along with the mentee? What if the mentee doesn't want to get along with me? Ron, I know you have a story, and I want to kind of bring some light onto it if you're okay with that.
Sure.
So kind of, because you had a situation where it didn't go necessarily as planned.
My first mentee was assigned to me, and like Tanner, we were matched, I thought, perfectly, because this boy loved athletics, just loved athletics. He was a minority student, and he loved to play football and just catch and things like that.
Yeah.
And we started out after, 5 or 6 weeks, the school said they would like to make a change because his mother was really wanting a minority mentor. And that was fine with me. And I could fully understand that. And so I would say to the listeners, there is a real need for minority people to help the TeamMates program. And I'm not just talking about minority males. I would like to see a lot more minority females as well in the program, because I think some of these young minority people probably can relate somewhat better initially with a minority, or at least would like to see someone like them at their school.
Yeah, that's fascinating stuff. Okay, so we got to take one more break. When we come back, I do want to dive into advice and just overall thoughts on your guys' experiences so far. So kind of be thinking about that. But once again, It'll be your guys' last chance for the week on this show, at least, for questions, thoughts, concerns. 402-464-5685, the Honda Lincoln hotline, the Starter Heyman text line, both those open for you. There is a little bit of breaking news. Husker volleyball is up 20-19 in the third set on the Blue Jays right now. And in bigger news, they set the attendance record today in a NCAA volleyball game. 15,700 plus people are packed in the CHI Health Center right now, up in Omaha, in downtown Omaha, for the Nebraska Creighton volleyball game. So that's some exciting news. But once again, Nebraska 5 points away from sweeping the Blue Jays with a 20-19 lead over Creighton. So once again, 402-464-5685. We'll wrap up the Teammates Mentoring Hour and get you on to the rest of the Ticket Weeknight slate on a Wednesday. Coming up next, you're listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
Don't go anywhere. More of the Teammates Mentoring Hour is minutes away on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
There's not many things worse than having plumbing issues at your home or business, but it's even worse if the problem isn't fixed correctly. Select Plumbing gets it right the first time, and they specialize in several things: general plumbing, water heaters, faucet and fixture repair, underground sewer and water repairs, backflow testing, and more. Keep your property free from leaks and other issues. Call today for a free estimate at 402-560-6197. Plus, they're hiring service plumbers. Contact Select Plumbing to inquire at 402-560-6197.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Sunny skies and just slightly cooler when compared to yesterday. We'll still top out near 90. Southeast winds at around 10 to 15. Overnight mainly clear with a low down to around 64. The heat will peak tomorrow. We'll see sunny skies, south winds gusting over 25, and a high near 95. I'm meteorologist Tim Wright for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
They might win, they might lose, but either way, you have something to say about it. Don't miss the Husker After Party postgame show immediately following every Nebraska football game. Nick Sainert and Jake Bakoven give instant reaction, quotes from the players and coaches, and take all your phone calls with thoughts on the game. It's the Husker After Party postgame show, only on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Sponsored by Action Plumbing and Heating, Gary Michaels Clothiers, and Brent Excavate.
I grew up hearing that women are bad with money, but like many of you, I spent years paying bills, managing checking accounts, and taking care of my family. So turns out women are pretty good with money after all. And now I'm taking control of my financial future by saving for retirement. It's never too late to start, and there's a great website to help you. Check out WeSaySaveIt.org and jumpstart your retirement savings on your budget and your timeline. That's WeSaySaveIt.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
Hey, this is Ernest Hausman. As a linebacker from Nebraska, I know how important it is to have a strong defense and a great playbook. If you are looking for a solid team to have your back, check out my friends at Burke Brown Law. Burke and Jackson will work with you to create an individualized strategy to bolster your defense.
Hi, this is Burke. Give us a call at 402-606-1441. With locations in Lincoln and Columbus, we're ready to tackle your needs. Find us online at burkebrownlaw.com.
Mark your calendars for the St. Wenceslas Brewfest on Saturday, September 10th in Milligan. Savor a delicious selection of Czech beer and cuisine while listening to live bands. And there's kids' activities too. It's the St. Wenceslas Brewfest on September 10th in Milligan.
Seasons change, but your land stays the same. You need the right solutions to keep you moving. That's why you rely on Acres Equipment, your Nebraska-owned premier John Deere dealership. Whether you're harvesting, protecting your crops, feeding the herd, maintaining your lawn, improving your business, or letting off some steam, Acres has what you need to get the job done. Acres Equipment, solutions for every field.
Jake Bakoven here. Before you get back to the golf course, let me tell you about my friends at Solarion. I've been working with them for many years, and they've been a great place to work with, helping develop new pharmaceutical products. All I do is check the website for possible studies that might apply to me, see if they fit into my schedule, and if I'm eligible for participation within the parameters laid out, I can make up to $500 per day in a study, and feel confident in the staff and research done by Solarion to be a willing participant. I was one of 800 participants at Solarion in Lincoln last year and will continue to be. If you're curious about how you can earn up to $500 per day by participating in a research study at Solarion, and with several options for scheduling, check them out at helpresearch.com/new or call them at 866-213-2965. Again, that's Solarion at 866-213-2965 or at helpresearch.com/new.
Empire Fence and Netting in Waverly is now hiring for several positions. They're looking for a fence installer for both commercial and residential, for local projects, and ones that require travel. They also have openings for operators, dirt work, welding positions, and applicants with CDLs are very desirable. If you're looking for a locally operated business that provides excellent work for customers and great benefits and care for its employees, email info@empire-fence.com or give them a call at 402-682-7658. Empire Fence and Netting.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Coppel Chevrolet GMC, and things are cooking in Louisville. Right now, our pre-owned sales are off the charts, and we have loaded up the lots full of inventory. We've got a great supply of Sierras, Silverados, Tahoes, Yukons, and crossovers. Plus, we've got a great supply of back-to-school cars just in time for the big day. Don't forget about all of those new 2022 and 2023 units arriving every day as well. So please take that short, money-saving drive down 144th Street or shop online at coppelcars.com. You'll be glad you did.
If your home water doesn't taste right, look right, or smell right, just call Bryant for the solution to your water problem. Call 467-1111. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Imagine your next staff meeting. Now imagine your next staff meeting with a side of ribs. Your next client presentation, or that same client presentation with brisket and baked beans. It's better, right? Let Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul take care of all of your business catering needs. Feed the staff, cater your next event, whatever you need, Mary Ellen's can help. They can even host your events in their brand new event space located right next to the restaurant. Go see for yourself. Mary Ellen's Food for the Soul at 29th and Pine Lake or online at maryellens.com. Let them fix you a plate.
This is Dan Friedman. Between 2010 and 2019, distracted driving caused more than 40,000 car crashes in Nebraska, resulting in over 14,000 severe injuries and deaths. Please keep your eyes on the road. If you have a smartphone, put it away while you're behind the wheel. It will help keep our community safe and secure. This message is brought to you by Friedman Law Offices, helping injured people. It's what we do. It's all we do. Find us at friedmanlaw.com today.
Mike Shaver here for Trek CBD. Summer is here, and that means you're having garage parties with neighbors, hitting the golf course and the pool. The drink of this summer isn't your typical seltzer. It's drinkable Delta 8. Yep, Trek CBD has drinkable Delta 8 seltzers with mango and lime flavors for 4-packs, 12-packs, coming in a variety of mango, watermelon, lime, and berry. They also have hemp-derived Delta 9 syrups to put in your beverages, and as always, the excellent Delta 8 gummies. Trek CBD at 84th and Andermatt and TrekCBD.com. Trek CBD, CBD done right.
Hey, this is Ernest Hausman. As a linebacker from Nebraska, I know how important it is to have a strong defense and a great playbook. If you are looking for a solid team to have your back, check out my friends at Burke Brown Law. Burke and Jackson will work with you to create an individualized strategy to bolster your defense.
Hi, this is Burke. Give us a call at 402-606-1441. With locations in Lincoln and Columbus, we're ready to tackle your needs. Find us online at burkebrownlaw.com.
Get a lot of advice about self-care these days, but one of the most important self-care steps we can take is making sure we're financially secure later in life. For small steps you can take to save for retirement, visit WeSaySaveIt.org. A message from AARP and the Ad Council.
Shopping for new flooring is different today. Getting your questions answered, making the right selection, getting the best value, and installed quickly and professionally. Visit OStreetCarpet.com or shop our store. We'll answer all your questions and help you make the right choice. You'll be enjoying your new floor in just days for less than you'd pay elsewhere. Carpet, vinyl, wood, laminate, tile, and area rugs. We've got it all.
O Street Carpet.
1732 O Street. Family owned and operated. Always the best value.
This is the TeamMates Mentoring Hour on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, Nick Sainer back here. Teammates Mentoring Hour, final segment. Get your thoughts in, get your questions. 402-464-5685. All right, guys, as we round things out, I need a couple pieces of advice for folks that maybe are hesitant, on the fence. Why should they take that leap into Teammates? I'll let you go first.
I think that a lot of people are nervous about getting the time off from work. So all the mentoring happens at school during the school day. And people are nervous that, oh, my boss isn't going to let me leave.
Yeah.
But actually, you'd be really surprised how supportive so many employers are here in Lincoln. Just ask. The research shows that employers that allow their people to go out and volunteer, they come back more revitalized. They have longer retention rates at that place of business. It's just good practice to invest in the community. So if you're nervous about your boss saying no, just ask. You never know what the answer is going to be.
Yeah. Tanner?
I'd always say just having the courage to take that first step. And where I'm at, you're not alone in that first step. So when you reach out to say, hey, I'd like to be a part of TeamMates, we're going to get you connected with the right people. We're going to get you set up. And you kind of even have somewhat of a preference sometimes in what school or what area. So that way, if it's a difficult transition or if there's a drive time, you have that opportunity to make sure that you get put in an area and matched with a mentee that would really be successful. And then once you have that courage, like I said, you're not alone. There are plenty of people like myself and match specialists that are out there to help you along with that mentee. And then once you connect, you're going to have that feeling of greatness inside. Like I talked about before, you're going to feel that empowerment that you changed that mentee's life. And, even on our worst days, that could have been that mentee's best day. And talk about the power of that.
That's awesome. Ron, what's your advice to the folks listening?
Well, I think Tanner said the best words. But there's so much truth in that I think most of us, want to leave this earth thinking that somehow we made it better than when we came in. And I can't think of a better thing than helping a young person, giving them hope, believing in themselves. To me, investment in a young person is the best investment anyone can make, because they're going to be our doctors, they're going to be our plumbers, they're going to be whatever in the future. And that's where it's all at. And help this young person be a better person. And the biggest benefit is you'll gain far more than you give. You really will. You'll have so much pride in seeing them change and seeing the effect you have on their life. It's just unbelievable. And really, it's all you got to do is have 2 ears.
Emily, so I know you guys got a big weekend coming up.
We do.
Weekend coming up. Tell us about some of the events that are happening.
Yeah, so this weekend, starting on Friday, we are going to be at the Shields Husker Tailgate. It should be tons of fun. Starting at 4:00 this Friday, out in the Shields parking lot, they're going to have bounce houses and human foosball and a rock wall and a zip line and face paint. It should be a blast. But they have invited us and Team Jack to come on out.
Cool.
We are going to be giving away Husker Throw the Bones yard signs in exchange for a $10 donation to TeamMates.
Gotcha.
And then they are also raising money for Team Jack, and there's going to be a big giveaway. There's a Traeger grill that they're giving away as a part of that, but it should be a really, really fun evening. So 4 to 8 at Shields.
Okay, perfect. And then Saturday
is a big Husker game. And that is a day where they're going to be celebrating TeamMates. As you know, this is Tom Osborne's program. And so we are going to be honored during the game, and all of the coaches are going to be wearing some 255 gear. Perfect. That's a collection of clothing that they put out last year. That's in honor of Coach Osborne, and the proceeds from that collection go to TeamMates. So look for that on the field and cheer on both the Huskers and TeamMates.
And then last but certainly not least, if somebody wants to get involved in a teammate and being a mentor, how does it happen?
Check us out at lincolnteammates.org. There's tons of great information on there about how to get started and the great work that all of our mentors are doing all around the city.
Once again, Nick Sander hanging out with you guys here. I've been joined tonight by Tanner White, Ron Cunningham, and Emily Hack. They've been all involved in TeamMates for a while now, and I highly recommend, and they highly recommend, that you get involved as well. Tanner might even be the one to set you guys up from SCO Middle School. So appreciate you guys listening. Don't go anywhere. Big Red Birdies with Husker women's golfers are coming up next from 7 to 8. Then it's going to be Harrison or Carter from 8 to 9, and we'll take you through the rest of your evening tonight on a Wednesday. But then we'll be right back at it 6 a.m. tomorrow morning. We'll talk to you guys next week on the Teammates Mentoring Hour.